Greetings and welcome back to your channel, guys. Oh, look what we got here. What is that? Ebonheart Pact Heavy Armor, Bloodspawn Helmet, Daedric Style Sword and Board. Is that an old school DK? Oh, it is. Oh, it is. Yep, we got an old school DK for you today. Like, this time we're going for the full old school feeling here, okay? Let's jump right in. Let's look at the stats real quick. We got roughly 30k Magicka and health, and 16.5k stamina, so not bad. Magicka recovery, not super high, goes up to like 1800 or something like that if you're fully buffed. So not super high, but it will do. We're a DK, you know, we have other means of sustain anyway. Spell damage, roughly between like 5 to 6k, depending on your buffs. When it comes to crit resistance, fully buffed, roughly 30k, and critical resist stays the way it is, roughly 2.5. Okay, that's fine. These are good defensive stats. We're going to be blocking a lot anyway, so that's where the majority of our damage mitigation comes from. Our boon is the Atronach, just for a little extra magical recovery. You kind of need that. I'm at Vampire Stage 1. You can go Stage 3 if you want. For me personally, because we're in heavy armor, Stage 3 makes skills a little too expensive for me, for my liking. If you can deal with that, sure, go ahead, go Stage 3, get the extra tankiness. Or if you're playing with friends that can, you know, provide like a recovery bonus or something like that, like shards, if you have a Templar with you, you can definitely go with that. Then you can sustain that just fine. But for me personally, because I'm solo, Stage 1, it'll do. It'll do. Witch Mother's Potent Brew for the food buff here, for the drink buff. You can go with like a gold food if you want, like a citrus fillet. I don't think it's worth it. They're too expensive for what they do. So Witch Mother is just fine. Taking a look at the sets real quick, we're running Mara's Bomb, of course, like everybody else. But we're running it on the body, so it's always up. We don't have it on the back bar. I know a lot of people do that to just swap to the back bar and then remove a whole bunch of effects and get like a big heal. That's not really why I'm running this. I'm more running it for the constant heal ticks that are coming in, which are going to be stacking with our second set, which is His Sap, also on both bars. Constant heal ticks. This really helps you, you know, get your, like, have your health be a lot more stable. The constant health ticks, because we're blocking, so we're not taking a ton of damage, and the health ticks coming in, just making our health kind of stable when we're dealing with a lot of people. So the goal of this build is basically, it's not a like a 1v1 build or anything. This build's not for the ego. This build is for getting the attention of a lot of people and enemy Zerg, holding them in place, dealing some damage to them, preferably like holding them at a breach so your team can shoot them and kill them with siege. That's basically what you're supposed to do. This is something that helps your faction overcome a large Zerg. So that's your job here, basically. I always say new school DK is for the ego, old school DK is for the people. This is old school DK. You're providing a service to your faction with this build. So don't expect to just go out there and just like duel and you know, dominate in a duel. You're very strong in a duel. Not like damage wise, but yep, most people can't kill you in a duel anyway. So, but this is meant to be something that controls the Zerg, keeps the Zerg in place, stresses them out, runs them out of resources, stuff like that, right? So we got Maras, we got His Sap, we got Bloodspawn. Bloodspawn, of course, super nice, extra stamina recovery, really helps because you're going to be stressing your stamina bar a lot on this build. The extra stamina recovery, definitely nice. You get the extra ultimate from Bloodspawn, which helps a lot on the DK, of course, because you're sustaining through the use of your ultimates. So getting that extra ultimate is a good thing, and you get the 3.5k extra physical and spell resistance, making you more tanky. And this is going to be up at all times. It's going to be up for 5 seconds, and it can occur every 5 seconds. If you're taking a lot of damage, this is going to rotate constantly. As soon as the buff falls off, it's going to be on you again. So every 5 seconds, you're going to get that 13 ultimate. You're going to get your physical and spell resistance. This is basically just on permanently. When it comes to the traits, all impen, we got arcane with weapon and spell damage enchants on the on the jewelry, and we got sharpened on the front bar here on our his sap. We're also using poisons. What kind of poisons you want to use is up to you. You don't have to use poisons if you don't want to. You can go for an enchant. We have an easy way of proccing poison and enchants on this build. I'm going to be talking about this in a second. And infused resto staff on the back bar for a little extra damage. You can go powered if you want for more heals, but the heals are so strong anyway. I don't think powered is really needed, but you know, you do you. So that's the sets. Let's look at the skills. So we got Burning Talents here. This is going to keep people in place. It's going to add a little extra damage. It's going to add a little extra dot, and it allows you to whip them. You know, once they're held in place, you can whip them. There's also a nice little thing. If you talon someone or you use Shattering Rocks and then you whip them, you set them off balance, which means you can swap to your back bar to your resto staff and do a heavy attack. Resto heavy attacks give 30% more resources back. Plus, you get double the resources if you heavy attack an off-balance target. 2 heavy attacks on an off-balance target can fill up your entire Magicka bar on this build, okay? So, if you're struggling with sustain, hit someone with a Fossilize, whip him to set them off balance, do a resto heavy attack. You get tons of resources back. You got to keep that in mind. That is a really great way of sustaining on this build. You could literally have 0 Magicka recovery, and you could sustain just fine by doing that. So keep that in mind. So yeah, talents to keep people in place, draw essence to do a little damage and also to heal you up. This heals like a truck if you're inside a big group. This is going to sap a ton of health, so really nice. Flame Lash on this one, of course, sets people off balance, does some flame damage. Not as much as the other morph, but the reason we're using this one is because it heals you. We need a ton of healing on this thing, and it's just part of your rotation. You talon someone, you whip them, boom, there's your heal. Fossilize someone, you whip them, boom, there's your heal. Also, we're using Shattering Rocks, not Fossilize, so you're getting a heal from that too. I mean, look at this. This is 8k, and this is like almost 10k. That's like 18k health that you're getting back just for using Shattering Rocks and then whipping someone, right? So tons of healing coming out of this build. Super, super nice, super easy. The next one we're using is Revealing Flare. This is just passively for the major protection on the front bar because, you know, we're going to be tanking a lot of people on the front bar. So that extra 10% definitely helps. For the ultimate here, Ferocious Leap, you know, deals damage. You can use it as a gap closer to catch someone. It's going to stun people. And this one also gives you a big shield, which makes it a lot easier to, you know, recover. If you're taking a lot of damage, you can pop this. It's going to stun people. It's going to get them off of you for a second. You're going to get the big shield. Gives you time to swap to the back bar and heal up and be fine again. So this is a lifesaver, definitely. On the back bar, we got Coagulating Blood. So this one heals like a truck. And that's the end of the story, basically. Heals like a truck. Boom, that's it. Rapid regen, super nice for a little sustained healing. Also helps you heal other people, which is nice. You know, sometimes it's nice to be useful for other people. Like I said, this is not an ego build. This is supposed to help other people. That's a way you can help other people. Put some heals on them. Next one, Burning Embers. We got it on the back bar now because this is not part of our main rotation, but it kind of ties into the healing gameplay of this build. Adds a little extra damage, but the main thing that you get out of this is the healing. So if you can, put this on a couple people. Also, don't miss the NPCs. Put this on the NPCs because it's gonna take harder on NPCs and give you more healing if you put this on NPCs. So just put it on 3-4 of them. You get a nice amount of healing back from the Burning Embers. It really helps. So if you want to sustain and you want that sustained health coming in, Burning Embers on a couple targets definitely helps. Volatile Armor, it's just your physical and spell resistance buff. Adds a little flame damage around you, hits everybody. So, you know, a little bit extra dots. You got the Burning Embers on people. You got the Volatile Armor on people. You're hitting them with the talons and stuff like that. There's a little bit of dot damage going on there. So that's basically it. The next one's Igneous Weapons. It's just your weapon and spell damage buff that's gonna last for a long time. you can go with what is it called, degeneration from the Magus Guild tree if you want, but that one only lasts 24 seconds, so you have to recast that constantly. But it would add some extra dot pressure if you like that. For me, it's just like I pop igneous weapons in there, I can forget it for like a minute, so that's where we're using that one. No need to swap back and recast it that often. Ultimate corrosive armor, you know, makes you super tanky, adds some poison damage around you, but the big thing is you're going to ignore resistances, so you're going to start doing a lot more damage, which helps. But yeah, that's the skills. Let's look at the CP real quick. Green tree is whatever you like. I usually do Gifted Rider, Warmount, Sustaining Shadow, Steed's Blessing. You do you. In the blue tree, we got Fighting Finesse, Backstabber, Master at Arms. You want to take, of course, all the free ones that you can get here. And then we have this one down here, Cutting Defense. That's actually a really important one to proc our poisons, because you're going to be dealing some magic damage to a melee attackers around you, and this can proc your weapon enchantments and your poisons. So it's a really easy way to have your enchantments and your poisons proc on something while you're blocking. You don't have to light attack anybody. You don't need a weapon skill to proc that. It's just going to go off when people attack you. Super easy way. You can't really decide who's going to get it if you have a lot of people on you, but if you have a poison like a double dot poison that deals poison damage and heals you, you don't care who gets it really. You just want the healing basically. So that's a super easy way of proccing your poisons and enchants. So I like to do this. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to. And then in the red bar, you take all the free ones that you can get, and we're going for Boundless Vitality. Slippery is super important. You're tanky as long as your block is up. If your block breaks, if someone hits you with a Fossilize or a Javelin or something, it's going to break your block, and you're going to start taking a lot more damage. So having that Slippery is super nice because it's going to auto break real fast, and you can go back to blocking. So I need to have this on this build. Rejuvenation is the next one. Gives you a little extra Magicka stamina recovery, also health, but health recovery, no one cares about it. Extra Magicka and stamina recovery, that's always on. You could go for Sustained by Suffering, which is more, but it's not always going to be on, and I do prefer having something that's always on, that has no requirements. So that's why I have this one. Next one is Survival Instincts. That one's going to make your blocking and your dodging a lot cheaper because you're in heavy armor, so it's kind of expensive. So this kind of offsets the cost of your heavy armor, increased cost on, you know, on these core combat skills. So yeah, that's basically how we're doing this, and that's the build, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you like it. Like I said, the playstyle is you see a Zerg, you go there, and what you're going to do is you're going to draw Essence, you're going to Burning Talons, and you're going to whip people, okay? That's your playstyle. Draw Essence, Burning Talons, whip. If shit gets rough, you can spam Draw Essence a couple times. That's going to keep you alive, and that's not something you should do forever, right? But that's about it, guys. I hope you like it. There's a couple clips of this build on my channel already. If you want to see them, go check them out. And I'm going to be uploading more clips of that, and we're going to be working on more old school DK builds because I miss old school DK. I love old school DK. Old school DK needs to come back. If you are an old school DK player on PC and A, hit me up. We can create a DK army and we can dominate the world. How's that sound? Sounds good, right? Anyway, like, comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with another video pretty soon. Take it easy, guys. Bye-bye.